up, YouTube? Welcome back to another Dart Frog adventure. You might notice the background's a little bit different. This is my office. I've been remodeling. I still got the other half to remodel and whatnot, but this is where I like to come out and do my videos in the summertime. I like to bring my laptop out here and edit some videos and all that fun stuff. Just kind of get away, kind of relax and whatnot. But tonight's story is going to take place on a cryptid in the same town. If you watched the last video, you'll know this town is South Fork. It's in the SOV. It's Southern Colorado. So in this town, South Fork, not to confuse with South Park, which is also a real town in Colorado, but you won't meet carbon or anything like that in there. No, South Fork is also known as the Silver Thread. So from 1996 to about 2000, the San Luis Valley had a lot of paranormal reports, from cryptids to unidentified flying objects, UFOs. That's just what they are, UFOs, unidentified flying objects. So at that time, in between 96 and 2000, like I said, there was a lot of just strange reports that come out of there. One of the reports was on Monkey Man. Now, this is really weird because, yeah, I know Monkey Man sounds kind of funny. Go ahead and laugh if you want. That's what I did when I first heard it, too. Monkey Man is not really like Bigfoot. He's his own thing. So I'm going to tell two quick little short stories before I get into the main story. So Monkey Man, he is rumored to be about 6.5, 7 foot tall, red eyes, hairy like a monkey, long arms, a tail. Countless people had, said they saw him. A few girls in my class said that they saw him one night, and I mean, when they were telling their story of when they saw him, they were bawling their eyes out. So I'd have to imagine they probably saw something. For the amount of time that I lived there in the San Luis Valley, I saw a lot of really strange stuff in that time frame from 96 to 2000. There is also some petroglyphs in that area. Only a handful of people know where to find them. Yeah, I've seen them. I know where they're at. And this is a strange thing, because on those petroglyphs, there is a figure on the petroglyphs that depict a creature like Monkey Man. Yes, there is some other cryptids that are supposed to be in the area too. I'm not going to really get into the other cryptids that are supposed to be in the area. Bigfoot's supposed to be in the area too. But so for my first quick little story I'm going to tell you guys, which is really weird, it's probably, I want to say like 98 when this happened. I was with a handful of friends, and we were cruising up one of these back canyon roads. And in this valley, there's not a lot to do for young people. It's just a lot of nothing there. It was a really fun time growing up there, if you ask me. But for the most part, we were heading up this canyon road. And so we're cruising along, and all of a sudden we see something, like the road goes and it turns like this, and then it turns like that. And there's a couple big like irrigation ponds on the side of the road. There's a house that sits right over here on the corner of the road, and this big, huge cottonwood tree that's like probably 30 to 40 yards off the road. And this tree is so big you can't put your arms around it. And so we're cruising up there, and we get to where this house is at and where this tree is at. And all of a sudden, something from the corner of the road on this side jumps to the middle of the tree. And myself and my three friends, I was sitting in the passenger seat. I was riding shotgun. And so all my friends and myself were like, "Whoa, what was that?" And so everybody, so we took the car, we turned around, went back through there. We went through like 3 or 4 times, seeing if like it was our headlights bouncing off like a tree, or see if maybe like it was a mountain lion jumping in the tree or something, anything. And we couldn't reproduce that shadow going back up in the tree the 5 and 6 times that we went back past that tree. So the thing was, we're like, okay, now what did you guys see? And all 3 of us at the same time described the exact same thing. We saw this black figure with a long tail jump from the edge of the road to the middle of the tree. Possibly Monkey Man, right? Could have been a mountain lion. They can jump really good. But like I said, when we got to the tree, we shined our brights in there, we backed up, we looked in the tree, there was nothing in the tree. No eye shines, we couldn't see anything. Nothing. Alright, so for the next little story, in the same time frame, 1996 through about 2000 there in the San Luis Valley, we were getting a lot of reports on just random weird stuff happening in the valley. Now, there's a thing called cow mutilation. I don't know too much about that other than what I heard in the valley when I lived there. There was a TV show on, I think it was Discovery Channel, called Fact or Fake. You can look this up. You can Google it. I think it's still on YouTube. There's some places where you can stream this show called Fact or Fake. But they did an episode in our valley about the cow mutilations. All right, so this little bit of a story it's kind of weird. It kind of goes hand in hand with that too, and Monkey Man and stuff like that. It's just weird. So anyhow, my friend and I, it's late at night, and we couldn't sleep. So I call him up, go over to his house, meet him in the backyard because he had a basketball hoop out in the backyard, and it was just us two. Like I said, it was like 2, 3 in the morning. We couldn't sleep. We're young, and so we're playing basketball out there. We're probably out there for about an hour, and all of a sudden everything went quiet. Now, which was really weird is we couldn't even hear the track from the main highway, Highway 160, which is no more than a couple blocks away from his house. And Highway 160 was the main highway that ran all the way through the San Luis Valley, from South Fork up Wolf Creek Pass, all the way into Alamos, all the way into La Vida. And so we were out there playing basketball, and everything just went eerie quiet, just calm, just eerie as can be. And all of a sudden we started getting, we noticed that it started getting really humid. And that place there in the valley never gets this humid. Never. It's a very dry, high mountain desert valley. So for it to get humid like it did that night, very strange. We had a little bit of fog and mist rolling in too, which we found to be really strange because we weren't really close to any kind of water. The Rio Grande River was a better part of a quarter mile away from where we were at, which that river runs all the way through the valley. And so, like I said, everything went quiet. Fog starting to roll in a little bit. All of a sudden, we started getting this strong smell of blood in the air. Really strange. So, we're like, okay, we're going to go ahead and call this quits. So I go ahead and head home. He goes into his house. I catch up with him the next day, and I ask him, I'm like, what was that last night? And I was like, do you know anything? Have you heard anything yet so far? And he's like, no. So about a week goes by. We're at school, and all of a sudden we start hearing, reports from other kids just talking about some strange, random stuff that has been happening in the valley. And so all of a sudden the cow mutilations started popping into there. And we started having cow mutilations on the other side of the valley, which is weird. Like I said, there's a TV show on Discovery Channel called Fact or Fake that did a episode on that in our valley. So like I said, for it to just get really eerie quiet and just silent where we couldn't hear nothing and have a strong smell of blood and just really weird, I don't know how to explain that. Other than that, was just a really strange incident that we ran into. So I'm gonna go ahead and start getting into the story of my Monkey Man encounter, or what we think is Monkey Man. It takes place in South Fork, Colorado. Okay, so with this story tonight, it takes place in South Fork, Colorado. I think it's 2001. A lot of the reports from the valley have died down at this time. We haven't been hearing a lot of cryptids or UFO stories coming out of the valley. So we're not thinking too much of anything. This is just another normal night for us in a small town with not a lot to do. So it starts out, I get this call from a couple of my friends. They're going to head over to the local bar, and they want us to come over there and meet them. So I go ahead and call up my ex-girlfriend. Well, I called my girlfriend at the time, which is an ex-girlfriend now. So I get a hold of her and tell her, I was like, hey, a few of our friends are wanting to go over to the bar and everything. You want to go over there and meet them, play some pool, and, just kind of wind out the night there at the bar and wait for last call type of thing. She's like, sure, yeah, So we get together, grab her, we go over to the bar, catch up with our friends, and we're having fun. We're doing our thing at the bar, drinking a little bit and everything. And due to the fact I was a designated driver, I wasn't drinking. I had some Sprites and stuff like that. I might have had a beer or something, but not much at all. So we're sitting there playing pool, and last call comes up. So gathering all my friends around, getting everybody together, so I can get people home and all this other stuff. So after last call, we get everybody gathered up and whatnot. And so I get everybody piled into the car, taking most of all my friends home, because a lot of my friends at the time had lived right there in town. I had a couple friends that had showed up. They lived a little outside of town. So my girlfriend and I pile in the car with all our friends, and we're dropping everybody off in town. And we finally get out to the last couple of friends. We take them out of town to where they live, and we're coming back into town. And we're almost at town limit, town line, the city limits and whatnot. And my girlfriend, after we dropped off the last friend, she goes, I don't really want to go home, not yet. I'm kind of bored. And I was like, yeah. I was like, it's still it's a nice night out. It's like probably 3 in the morning by now. By the time we get everybody dropped off and closed down the bar and whatnot. So she's like, well, let's go ahead and pull off on this little side road. So after you come off the main highway, there's like a little bit of a side road that goes in by some businesses. It's like the business district side road. And there's an RV park down by the river. And so, like I was saying, there's a lot of reports of Monkey Man hanging out down by the river. At least there was a few years prior to this. And so we weren't thinking nothing of it. I mean, she had heard the stories too, but she didn't believe them. Like I said, I had saw some of the pictographs and everything up in the hills and everything. And like I said, there's one that portrayed something like Monkey Man. And me myself living in that haunted house, poltergeist house. This is the same time frame that I was living in that poltergeist house too. I was like, I know there's stuff that goes on in this valley. There's just weird stuff that happens here. And she's like, let's go for a walk. I'm like, okay, no big deal. It's a nice night. I ain't expecting nothing to happen. So we pull our car in over by a couple of old businesses and whatnot. And so the way you come off the main highway, comes down through a little bit of a hill like this. There's a road that goes like this to the RV park, and then another road that comes this way and goes back by the restaurants and everything. So we park over here by the restaurants, and we're walking on this road. So we park over at the restaurant and get out, lock the car and everything. And we're walking along, just her and I are talking. It's a nice night. I mean, it's a clear night. It's like the middle of summertime, so it's not cold or anything like that. But the moon's out, it's nice and bright. There's like very little clouds in the sky. So you can see all the stars in the sky with no problem. So we're walking along, and like I said, keep in mind the road that we have to go on is this little bit of road that cuts through a little bit of a hill, because there's like the main highway, comes across, there's like a little bit of railroad tracks, and then it dips down through like a little bit of a hill and then goes in there. So we're walking up the road here, getting towards the hill, over by the RV park and everything, and it starts getting really quiet. No traffic's going by on the main highway, which not too uncommon for this time of night, not having traffic on the highway. But it was getting really quiet. It wasn't like eerie quiet, but it was just getting really quiet. The normal night sounds like crickets and birds and dogs and whatever, we're not really hearing any of that. So I'm not thinking too much of it, and she is just talking away because she has her mindset on something completely different. And she's just talking, and I'm like, okay, I'm talking back and forth with her, and we're getting closer to this little bit of a hill and a little closer to the RV park. Now at this point, it starts getting really eerie quiet, and I mean, it starts just, the atmosphere doesn't feel right. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna really say anything to her because she's still talking and nothing's really bothering her or anything like that, and she's not really aware of anything that's going on. And so we're walking along, and one of the rumors or one of the stories with Monkey Man is that he lives down by the river, and he will run the entire Rio Grande River from South Fork all the way up to Alamosa. And in Alamosa, there's an old abandoned place, which local kids had called it Monkey Man's house, but it was this old place. It was abandoned, and it had all these like monkey statues in there. It's really weird. I've seen it a couple times. It's just a really strange place. And some people said that, Monkey Man started from that place. Like the person had like these circus monkeys or something weird. I don't know the full story of that place, but they're like, anyhow, the monkeys went crazy. They were like a science experiment or something weird like that. So Monkey Man escaped from there. That's where he's originally from. That's like what most of the youngsters in my day were saying, that's how Monkey Man come about in the valley. So Monkey Man, he runs up and down that river because it goes from Alamosa to South Park. Okay, like I said, we're not really paying too much attention. Like I said, I noticed it's starting to get kind of eerie and quiet and everything like that. So I'm trying to get her to, not talk as much. I'm trying to get her to, just kind of listen. Let's let's see what's going on, because we're getting close to the RV park, and there's big trees that line the river, and there's like no trees. You can see the highway from where we're walking, but once you get to this little bit of a hill, you can't see the highway. All you can see is 2 hillsides and the road that goes up like this. So now we're getting to the point where we're getting ready to go up this little bit of a hill to head towards the main highway, and it has a big hillsides like that where you can't see anything up like that on the side. You can't even see the main highway from where we're at this point. So we probably took like maybe 2 steps into this little bit of a hill, and all of a sudden I started feeling something in the ground, just something was like stampeding towards us. I could feel the progression in the ground. I could feel something. I couldn't see anything. I could feel it. I could hear it, and it was like close. It did a little bit of a grunt at first, and then come towards us. I'm like, oh shit, it's an elk or a moose or something, you know, maybe a bear. I'm like, oh crap, you know. So just as we get to the top of that hill, that thing, the entire time while we're walking up this, it's probably like a 10-foot section of road with 2 hills. I mean, you take like 5 steps, you're at the top of the hill where you can see the main highway and the rest of everything. You just couldn't see up over these little side berms that you had to walk through. And by the time we got right to the edge of that hill, that little bit of a hill, this at the same time, everything was like running towards us. And once we got to the top of the hill, it felt like this thing just like jumped. So like it caught me off guard. It just startled the ever-loving crap out of me. And so anyhow, like she's standing right here, so I kind of grab her and put her behind me like that, you know. I'm like, I mean, what am I going to do? This is a beast. It's going to like just destroy me if it gets a hold of me, type of thing. So I mean, just with it catching me off guard, I'm ready to fight. End of story, type of thing. And it felt like once it got to the edge of that little bit of a hillside right here, it felt like it jumped. So I look up in the air. I didn't see anything. Like I said, it's a bright, clear sky. So I could see if there's a black shadow that would jump over the hill or something, I could see it in the sky. I couldn't see anything as it jumped, but it felt like it jumped over us. And as I'm looking up into the night sky, I hear the trees right behind us just start rustling really, really hard. So I turn back like this, and I'm seeing the trees move like that as they go down the line. So it's like one tree's moving like this, the next tree's moving like that, and the next tree's moving like that as I'm hearing in the trees. I don't see anything. I'm just hearing movement in the top of the trees, and I'm seeing the trees move. That's all it was. So, like I said, I don't know what to think of it. Like I said, that's probably, like I said, with the rumor of Monkey Man, that's my Monkey Man story. Like I said, I'll leave that up to you guys. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it's Bigfoot, or Monkey Man, or what? I know it sounds crazy, but like I said, there are urban legends everywhere out there. I mean, there's probably urban legends in your own town. I know there's urban legends out here where I live now. There's tons of them where I had lived. So like I said, I'm going to leave this up to you guys. What do you guys think? Do you think it is a Bigfoot encounter? Do you think it was a moose? What do you think it was? I have no clue. Like I said, it's just one of those really strange events that happened in a time frame where there's a lot of UFO reports and a lot of cryptid reports. Like I said, I could feel the progression in the ground. I could feel like it charging towards us. It's just really, really strange. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and leave you tonight with this story. You guys really seem to like the last story. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much for that. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate all your likes, all your subscribes, all your comments. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you tremendously. I will be back with another story on the Poltergeist house. I will be back with a couple more Bigfoot stories and a couple more stories from the San Luis Valley. So, if you like this video, hit like. If you're new to my channel, most definitely hit subscribe. Until the next adventure.